Hey, 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 everyone. I'm so excited to be back. We are Poe on the call. It's me, Cris Rivers.
And I'm Mandy Mac.
Yes, and we are here with the inspiring Poe entrepreneur and creator of Pillow Fight, Adémigua.
Hello.
Yay!
Thank you so much for being here with us and taking the time to share your Poe story and your business. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah,
Yay. Right.
man, kick it off.
So we'll start with the question we always begin with, and that is what brought you to pole dancing?
So I started what brought me to pole dancing was the need to eat. I started in the clubs and honestly I never did a pole trick until I left the club. And then I actually started to train pole. Um, at work, it was a different vibe for me. I went there very focused on trying to make money. And so, honestly, in the club that I was at, you didn't really make money on your stage. So, nobody really cared about being on stage. It was kind of a nuisance to be called on stage, like, okay, can I get off now? Because I need to go back to my customers. So, yeah, I just never really did any true pole tricks, anything spectacular. Just like the typical like old school bump and grind. And then it was time to get back on the floor and make money.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that honestly, because sometimes that is how we got into it, just to make some money.
It's like I need to eat. My son needs to eat. My son has very expensive takes. He's like salmon every day. I'm like, we need to, we need to get some money in here.
Too funny. Good for you that he loves salmon. Oh my God.
Oh, he never liked candy. It was just salmon, noodles with just butter and salt and broccoli. That's all he wanted to eat all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Too funny. So, after you started dancing to make money, how did you start ending up transitioning into teaching and where you are now with pole dancing?
Yeah. So at the time, my goal, um, after I started dancing for a little while, I had, because I was already in circus and dance and I was already performing and traveling. But when I came back home, I needed to make money. Life changed. I was on my own. I had gotten divorced and I needed to like figure out how to make a living pretty quickly. And with no skills other than circus skills, because I left to do circus when I was about 16, 17. I left home to start training. And yeah, I was like, this is what I have, my body, and I'm a dancer. So how do I figure this out? So while I was dancing, I decided that I wanted to make a business out of circus because I didn't want to dance forever. I didn't want to be in the clubs forever, I should say. Um, and so I started saving my money and slowly started buying all my equipment, all my rigging, all of my stage stuff. And then when I made enough money, I left the club and I started touring and performing. And I was able to like perform overseas for a little bit and then around the US. And in between performing, I was getting asked whenever I would do stops, oh, do you teach? Oh, can you do a workshop? Oh, can you do this? So I started to incorporate that into my shows, where I would tour like a specific city for like a couple days, do a few shows, and then on the last day I would host like a workshop. And then I found like I really enjoyed teaching even more so than I enjoyed being on stage. So when I got back home, I decided to start teaching full time. And it just kind of took off because when I first started, which was like 2005 ish, like professionally anyway, um, there was nothing. Like there was nothing. There were no aerial studios. if you found one, it was like nobody knew what it was. It was like in this little warehouse, dark, cold, nobody knew that it was there. And it's nothing like it is now. So starting that, it just kind of blew up because everybody was like, oh, this is new, it's exciting. People had just started to find Cirque du Soleil. And so they thought they were all superstars when they got to, do circus tricks and things like that. And then it wasn't until 2017 that I actually started to go back to pole. And I was getting kind of tired of circus, and it takes a lot out of you. You have to be like super excited all the time, like, and everybody wants you to be silly and funny and make the kids laugh and be like on. And I mean, anybody who's a regular performer knows like you have to kind of be this other person. So it was taking a little bit out of me, and I wanted something that was just for me. So I went back to pole and started to kind of feel my way through that space again. I was much older than I was before. My body had changed. My body had gotten tired, all these different things. So I also had a lot of injuries by this time. So my body just didn't want to move the same way. And pole allowed me to just kind of figure it out as I went along versus aerial, where if you don't do things exactly technically correct, like you're gonna fall. Like that's, and then there's aspects of that in pole as well. But as long as I had my feet on the ground, or I even had my butt on the ground, I was safe. I felt good. I felt comfortable. And I just started kind of playing from there. And then didn't take long, couple years, and I was like, oh, I miss teaching. So it was just kind of natural that since pole was the thing that I was playing with at the time, that I transitioned into teaching pole. It just kind of happened that I got my certification. I really didn't plan on it. But when I did, the owner of the studio that I was training at hired me before I even finished my certification. I was like, wait, I didn't actually want to do this. And she was like, no, you're doing it. And I'm like, okay. Cause originally I was like, I'll teach hula hooping, or I'll teach, something circusy, because that's what is natural for me. And I felt like I hadn't spent enough time with pole. I had only spent about 3 years or so with pole. So I didn't feel like I spent enough time with it to teach it. My teachers were old school teachers, and they were like at least 7 to 10 years before you know your craft. And so I kind of had that in me, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, yes, you do. So I started, and I love it. Like, it's so much fun. I really have a great time with the students that come to see me. My favorite thing is those little moments when they finally get something and they get excited. And I mostly work with beginners. I have a passion for beginners. And so I have a lot of students that move on, and then they come back and they're like, I did this in class and I leveled up, or I went here, or I did that. And I'm like, yes, fuck yeah. Like, I'm so excited. It feels kind of like, I always sort of like liken myself to like a forever house mom. And so I'm always like, you got this, you got that, you're okay, you got this, you need this, what are you doing? Okay, work on this, practice this, try this, and I'm like always like making sure like everybody's good. And so seeing them come back later and they have like transformed and like morphed into these beautiful butterflies, I'm just like, oh, I don't care if anybody knows who I am, as long as people know and get to see the people that I have worked with. Like, when that happens, that's when I feel like I did something, not when I get a move, but when like 5 students that I have got a move and it looks spectacular and everybody's like, oh my God, you're amazing. That's when I get excited. I don't really care when I get a move. I'm like, okay, great. yeah. So I kind of went off on a rant there.
You are perfectly fine. Thank you for answering that. I love how you went into detail about your circus history, your movement background, and how you didn't want to start teaching, but you ended up starting because they wanted you so bad. I do appreciate it. You did not go in any tangent at all. Did you find that your dance background and your circus background ended up helping you when you transitioned more into pole?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just movement training in general, right? Because that's like part of the so almost like hazing that happens when you go into pole. It's like your body is hazing you. It's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to move. I don't want to stretch, right? And it's like you get into more than just the tricks, right? More than just the pole moves. There's like body awareness. There's like awareness of the space around you, where your body is in space. For some reason, when we're moving and our limbs are behind us, we don't know what they're doing anymore. All of a sudden, they don't exist, right? So just being constantly aware of yourself, your body, how you move through space, how to think on the fly, how to adjust, how to adapt. What happens if you go to reach for the pole and it's not there, right? Like you got to keep moving. And yeah, so having that body awareness, having that ability to just move and just create on the fly. There have been many times where my props have failed on stage, many times where cues did not come in properly. I missed my mark on stage, all these different things. Somebody just randomly did some crazy shit backstage, and I'm the only one that knew that it happened. The audience has no clue, and you have to still just go. You have to pretend like everything is fine. This is wonderful. We're going to continue, you know? And so, yeah, that's super helpful when it comes to pole, just being aware of your body, how to move, how to adapt, how to adjust, and also just not putting yourself in this box, right? I think everybody, when they come to pole, they have some idea of what pole is before they get there. And more often than not, that illusion is shattered when they get there. Whatever their idea is of it, it's not that when they get there. And they're like, oh, okay. um, and, there's so much you can do with pole, right? So even if your version of pole exists, there's still so many different aspects of it that you may not have known before coming to pole. I know for myself, even as a club dancer, that was what I knew about pole, was in the clubs. I had no idea about all these different styles and ways of moving and ways of being with the pole. In my mind, it was like, it was a pole at work. It helped me to stand up when I had these 10-inch platforms on. That was it, right? I may like spread my butt cheeks on it a little bit, but that's about it. Like there's nothing special about this pole. And then it wasn't until later that I actually started training with the pole, and I was like, oh, okay. I took the approach that I took with circus to the pole, in the sense that I didn't limit myself. It's like, okay, what else can I do? Okay, I tried that. Now, what else can I do? Well, what happens if I do this? What does it look like if I do that? And it was a little bit of a struggle for me when I first started training pole, because a lot of pole studios follow like a very almost cookie cutter way of teaching. It's like, this is level 1, this is level 2, this is level 3, this is level 4. And because we have so many people that are coming in off the street that are not athletes, not dancers, not even aware of their body, right? You have to have that structure to make sure that everybody is safe, everybody, has a good time. But it didn't really allow me to explore the way that I really wanted to. It was like, okay, you have these moves in level 1, that you have to learn, and that's that. And then the same thing for level 2 and moving on. But I didn't know that there was a such thing as a level 3 or 4 on the ground. In my mind, and what I've seen is that if you're level 3 or 4, you're up in the air, you're doing aerial shit, you're dropping, you're doing all this, spectacular stuff. And I had no clue how spectacular you could be from the middle of the pole down. And then I started to explore different dancers, and then Instagram blew up during the pandemic, right? Everybody got a pole during the pandemic. Everybody started trying. Everybody started posting. That was another thing, is that because my idea of pole was the strip club, you didn't really post that stuff. When I first started, you didn't even really want people knowing what you were doing. You would go to one town over, so you didn't have to see anybody. Didn't have to run into anybody, which interestingly enough, I ran into my son's school teacher one time, which was very funny. But you try to kind of hide that stuff. So that was like wild to me to see these pole dancers on Instagram, but not just that. It was the way that they were dancing, the way that they were presenting themselves. And that's when I really started to find my way through pole dance, is when I started to explore these dancers on Instagram. And the first 2 dancers that I really connected with was Sammy Bacone and Kristen, the polecologist. And I was just like, that's it. That's it. That's it right there. And it reminded me of my time at the club, in the sense that my approach to the pole was very different than a lot of my coworkers. I wasn't into really fast dynamic movements, loud bangs, drops, all that kind of attention getting stuff. Honestly, I didn't want anybody to pay any attention to me on stage because I was trying to get off. But it was like my time. And as a dancer, I've always had a very intimate relationship with music. So I would very purposely choose my songs. And this was a long time ago, so I'll tell you this. I would pass my CD to the DJ with like an extra $20. Like, hey, can you just play songs from this CD that has all my favorite songs on it? And I would just leave. I would be on stage, but I wouldn't be there. I kind of tapped into this almost like meditative state where I just allowed my body to be expressed through the music during that time. There would be times people are trying to tip me. I can't see anybody. I can't hear anybody. Like, it's just me. This is my time. I was completely within myself during that time and the music. And that's what I enjoyed most about actually being on the pole. So when I saw these 2 dancers, I was like, that's it. Especially Kristen. She really helped me to really kind of get back to that and to let me know that that was okay. I wasn't aware at the time, but I actually was looking for permission. I needed permission to say that, yes, I am a pole dancer, but I'm not doing these aerial tricks. I'm tapping into something a little bit different here on the floor, here on the middle part of the pole. I'm taking my time. I don't feel rushed. I'm not like, oh, that beat dropped, I got to hurry up and catch it. Or if I don't start moving fast enough, they're going to disengage and they're not going to watch my stories or my reel or whatever. Who fucking cares? It's about me and the music. And y'all can fuck off, honestly. Like, I'm only posting this because I need to get it off my phone. I don't even care if you see it. But just having that permission really opened the doors for me. And I was like, this is great. Because I've honestly been told that I'm not a real pole dancer, that I'm still level 1, which even if I was, I'd be totally fine with that because level 1 chicks are top. But, you know, all these things about who I am as a pole dancer, and that I'm not legitimate unless I'm doing one-handed dynamic power moves, right? And those are fantastic. And I love watching people do it because I'm just like, you're so insanely strong and elegant at the same time. How do you do it? You know, but I also know me and I'm okay with me. And the version of me on the pole doesn't move that way. And honestly, I've never moved that way. I've done a lot of different forms of dance, and every single one of them, even the ones that probably required more energy, I still approached it with a very slow, very sensual, very like sensory based, almost meditative approach. Um, every dance I've done is like that because that is what my body naturally craves, is that slowness, that stillness all the time. So I don't even remember what the question was. My bad.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You know, I think it's really beautiful how you describe, you know, like working with the music too, because it's like it's like magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go off to another place. It's literally like I'm riding the waves of the notes and the rhythms and the melodies, and I'm just being passed off to the tempo and being passed off to, you know, it's
Yes.
like, oh, thank you.
That's so beautiful. So would you say that you prefer freestyle too, over like pre-planning what you're going to do, or?
Depends on what I'm going after. For my own training, yes, freestyle all the way because I love to explore and just kind of see what happens. And my pole is in my living room. So sometimes it's funny, my husband will actually give me prompts and he's like, try it this way, or what happens if you do it like this? And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. Yes, I'm gonna do that. You know, so that's pretty much like the most I will get as far as like pre-planning. But because I do teach mostly beginners, I prefer working um with choreo, um, just to give them some. A lot of times, beginners, even when they try to train freestyle, they're like, I don't know what to do. Where do I go from here? Right. Oh, sorry. But they're like, I don't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, let me give you these things. And it's more of a like freestyle facilitator, you know? I'm facilitating your flow. I'm not, even in my choreo, I always tell people this is just to give you something to play with. I don't care if you do anything that I taught you here today. I just want you to move. And I have my choreo classes are open level. So I have people who've almost, well, not never touched a pole because that's intro, but people who are super beginners all the way to maybe level 3-ish. And they're all in the same class. But what happens is if you want more, I'm going to give you more. I'll show you a different variation. If you need less, I'll give you less. I'll show you a regression, or I'll give you a totally different move that fits specifically in that spot so that you feel comfortable and you can continue moving with the class. But now that I'm having more repeat students, more regulars, I'm finding that they're able to now start creating on their own, and they start able to fill those gaps on their own. They're able to adapt to what their body wants to do on their own. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with your level. Some days your hamstrings are like, fuck off. You know, some days your lower back is like, bitch, what? You know, so you have to be able to adapt. That same move isn't going to work for you every single time, depending on how you move your body outside of pole, which unfortunately, a lot of us are like sitting all day or not having enough time to stretch or cross train or do, any of the supportive things for a pole. A lot of the people that come to my class, that's their time. It's just that class. That's it. And when they leave, they're back to being mom, they're back to being coworker, they're back to being boss, they're back to being whatever. So I try to make sure that they have the most in that class. So choreo works best there. But for me personally, definitely freestyle because I love exploring.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I love too how you, like before you stated, like when people learn just tricks and they don't think that they can dance like the way that they want to. So I think that's beautiful that you incorporate the choreo as like this is a thing. You can make it your own. Because that
Yes,
really encourages like the authenticity that pole is there for us.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, I also appreciate how you mentioned not every day is going to be the same, and we have to, respect our body on that day. Like you said, some days our hamstrings are going to be like, bitch, what? Um, I think it's so important that we keep reminding our instructors and ourselves that not every day is going to be the same.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Is it my turn for a question?
Sure. I have a million more, but yes.
So we talked about, I know she mainly asked, do you prefer freestyle, but do you have, I know you seem more like make your own style, but do you have, I'm assuming low flow too. What is your favorite type of pole? I
Yeah.
feel like you told us kind of.
So, yeah, I love floor work. I love low flow. I love slink. I love anything sensual. Um, yeah, anything that's slow, ooey gooey, almost like meditative, that's my jam. I'm not a fast mover. I adore those dancers that can be super dynamic and hit those beats like they owe the money. Like I love that so much. I love watching it. It's like all that's on my feed. But for me and my body, the way my body set up, the way my spirit set up, I like to take things slow um, and really feel my way through everything. So yeah, low flow, base work, slink, um, uh, old school exotic even is really cool. Anything sensual and slow is my jam.
I remember somebody else coined the term sloth style.
Ooh. Okay, forget what I said. That's my style.
It's funny.
A very
I forget who said it. Yes. Sexy sloth.
all right. That's going in my bio now, my profile.
OMG. Do you happen to have a favorite pole trick?
Mm. So I feel like I naturally fall into um pirouettes a lot, like a lot. Um and there's so many different variations. There's so many different ways to express it. Um and also coming from having ballet training, when I first got to pole training and they were like, okay, we're going to learn pirouette. And I was like, what? How? There's no way. Pirouette in ballet is very different than a pirouette on the pole. And I had to relearn, rethink what pirouette meant. But the way that you can express yourself through that, it's not just a turn. There's so many different elements to your pirouettes and how to make them slower, how to make them more dynamic, how to make them full of, life and energy, how to, exude like different emotions. There's so many different things that you can do with pirouettes, and they can look different every single time. Just last night I had class and we went through like 4 or 5 different types, and it was like they had no idea. They were like, oh, I thought this was a pirouette, and I'm like, no, there's so much more, let's explore. And then you can do this with your leg if you want to, and then you can do this with your arm if you want to. And yeah, there's so many. I love moves that have like 10, 11 different ways of expressing it. Another one that my students, well, not my students, but the students that come to my class, I don't own anyone. The students that come to my class make fun of me because whenever we do floor work, the move that always gets into all the choreos is floor fucker. Floor fucker is like #1 because that was my move when I was in the club too. It was just like I'd be on my tummy and that booty would just be going up and around and back and forth and into the ground. And it's such a fun way to move your pelvis. Yeah. So that's my jam. Pirouette, floor fucker.
That is too fun. I've never heard floor fucker as floor fucker. When you mentioned, I was like, what is that? And then you explained, I was like, oh, so they're like, how do you say, like almost like a speed bump, but obviously a little more to it.
Yes. It's kind of like, do y'all do Disco Kitty? Like the
Yes.
So it's almost like that, but your belly button is on the floor, like it's just your butt.
Ooh. Sounds like a good time.
It's fun. Whatever you're wearing is going to be in between your butt cheeks by the time you're done. It's just like, and I love butts, so this is like all I'm about.
Too funny.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Do you have any tips to teach beginners pirouettes? Because I feel like for me, like whenever I teach pirouettes, it's there's anxiety just because it's a little bit hard to like there's 2 arms going at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, the way that I approach it, well, the way I approach everything, but especially something as complicated as pirouettes, because it's a simple move, it's a basic move, but there's a lot that's happening there. So I usually break it down into sections. We work the inside hand first and every aspect of that inside hand. What I find a lot of beginners end up doing is they put their palm on the pole because that's where you grab. And I have them slide it back to their fingers so that when they tilt their knuckles up, their thumb doesn't get caught. That thumb always wants to stay in the front. So if they have the pole on their palm, they're just going to hit the pole with their thumb. So I usually have them slide back to their fingers just a little bit so that the thumb can pass. And then you give like cute little names like little pancake flip and then another pancake flip. Then I work the outside hand and I'm like, okay, we're petting the kitty. We're not strangling the cat. Don't grab it. Don't, just pet the kitty, like all these, just really breaking it down and making it fun and exciting so they can like laugh. Because a lot of times too, they're like super quiet. You ask a question, nobody answers. You're like, hey, does that work? Crickets. Hey, is everybody okay? Crickets. Does anybody need to see that again? Crickets. So when you can get them to laugh and loosen up a bit, it makes them feel more comfortable. And so their brain relaxes because almost everybody that comes into a pole class in the beginning, they're like, people are looking at me. I feel like I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to do everything wrong. This feels awkward on my body. I don't know what to do with my hands, right? So if you can break that, put a little glitch into that for them, it makes things a little bit easier. So making little jokes like that, and then breaking each little section: inside hand, outside hand, then feet, then putting things together, then working on all the little stuff like what your head, your shoulders, your chest, your pelvis, everything else is doing. And then we actually have a move. But even then, they have it technically correct. But then I'm like, go to the other side. And we're starting back at square one. But it's fun, you know, and everybody's on the same page. So when you're like animated and you're excited and you're a little bit loud, it gives them permission to relax. You know, if I was like, okay, this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it, this is the way it looks, okay, go, then they would be terrified. Nobody wants to be led or guided that way, you know. So just break it down to the crumbs and have fun and be silly and goofy. Cute little names help. And I hear students there and they're like, okay, pet the cat, sniff my armpit. Like, okay, now I'm because they'll go in that direction, right? I'm like, is there an armpit to sniff over there? Nope. Sniff your armpit. Get in there. And that's how they know to go under their arm.
Oh my gosh. I love all of that. Thank you for sharing that. Right. Always
Funny.
looking for new tips because it is always, yeah. And then like they'll try to do it and then it's just like the wrong way, upside down. Like, where are you going with
Yes. Yeah.
this? Well, do you have any least favorite tricks that you don't like doing?
Ooh.
You know, I'm open to explore pretty much anything. There is not a whole lot that I won't at least try, just because I don't know what my body feels about that move until I try it. But then when I try it, I will very quickly determine whether this is something that I want to spend more time on, or whether it's something that my spirit is like, nah, we're good, but thank you. So when I first started, I think I was like to a technical solid 3, right? Meaning I was doing a lot more aerial stuff, and leg hangs and things like that, from much higher up on the pole. And just feeling the amount of stress that my body was under being in those different positions, twerking my body in certain ways and having to really like stay engaged all the time to make sure that you're using the proper muscles and that you're not going to fall, and all these different things put too much stress on me. So if anything, I will say that any move that puts too much negative stress on my body, because we're always under stress, right? Positive stress is fine, but any negative stress on my body, that's what I don't like. And I feel like that's probably like a common sense thing. Like anything that hurts, I don't want to do, you know. But how much hurts in pole, right? You wouldn't do a whole lot if you couldn't get past a little bit of pain here and there. Even something as simple as like gripping onto the pole super tight is going to cause calluses. That can be painful for people. So you have to decide for yourself like what your pain tolerance is. So anything that's above my threshold for what I find acceptable for my practice is a no for me. But I'm definitely willing to try anything. But it's hard for me to say a specific move, because everything can be morphed into something else that fits me better, you know? So I can't say, oh, I hate Superman, because I may only hate Superman the way somebody else does it. The way that I do Superman, I love it. It works for me, you know? So yeah, the way that you express yourself in a move is still that move, but it may look different on your body, and that's what fits you. So it feels good. Yeah. I don't know if that answered the question.
No, no, I love it. What you're saying is really resonating with me too, because it's like, only do the things that feel good for your body, and that gives you permission to explore yourself more. And we all have different, um, tools coming to the pole.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of people that love to explore in that way where they're like, this hurts or this doesn't feel good. So I'm going to train it until it does feel good and it does feel seamless. However, for me, in my middle age, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I did all that in my 20s and 30s. Like I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't need to do that anymore. If I don't naturally flow into it, I'm not all that interested in it at this stage in my life. Yeah.
I think it's interesting too that you bring up the point about like holding on to tension of like training for hard tricks, and like I also found that it was hard in my regular everyday life to like get rid of that tension because my body was just like ready for these hard tricks that I didn't
Mm.
need, like going to the grocery store
Yeah.
or like driving a car, but it would still be there. So like thinking about that and the impact that it has on your body is really important. So thank you for bringing that up. Like I said, it really
Yeah.
resonated with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is important that, whatever your goal is, you train for it, right? Um, it's just that we all have different goals. And for some people, their goal is to get stronger. Their goal is to be able to do those same tricks higher up on the pole or to be more dynamic and all these different things. My goal is to go slower. How long can I stretch this one move out? Can I, one practice that I'm using right now in my class is we take 3, no more than 5, but 3 if you can, moves for an entire song. How long, how much can you get out of this one move? How much can you milk this one move so that you can stretch that bitch all the way across? We were doing crawls the other day, and I said, your goal is to not finish. Your goal is to not cross the finish line. Take as much time as you can to get to the front of the room. You should not get to the front of the room by the time this song ends. And it was beautiful. All the different things that people were coming up with to express themselves in that basic crawl, to slow things down, to milk that moment, to milk that part of the song, to express themselves through that part of the music. It was amazing. And I'm like, don't get to me if you get to the front of the room. Like, we're trying to not cross the finish line here. But
I love
so
that.
Yes.
training.
Creative ways you've offered to teach classes. It's so fun. Thank you for sharing all of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. That's definitely inspiring. I'm probably going to use those for my class. Thank
Yes.
you.
This is why we do this, so we can all continue to grow and learn and share.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, speaking of classes, what are you teaching now? Do you offer online classes? Where can people find you?
So I am in Austin, Texas, and like I said, my passion is beginners, but my other passion is also choreo, and that freestyle sort of meditative type of practice. So I have those classes as well. I have intro, I have level 1. Um, Here in Austin, I'm at Inner Diva Studios, I'm at Soulfly Social, and I'm at Lachey Movement. And as far as online, I mostly only have online private students. I don't have any running classes, but I do have some students who, because before I got to Austin, I was living on the road for like 2.5 years, and I would just spend like 30 days in each state and just kind of travel. And I picked up people along the way. So I do have friends and students that are not here in Texas, and they just schedule time with me online to work on different things. If they're preparing for shows or they just want to meditate for a little bit, all those different things. But here in Austin, it's the intro level 1 and then choreo. So my choreo at Inner Diva is called Honey Drip. And I have 2 of those. I'm starting a liquid motion class at the end of the month. Liquid motion is my shit. If you haven't heard anything that I said today, like that embodies what it is that I'm talking about. Like, love it. And then I do ethereal motion, which is an embodiment movement practice, and that one is at Soulfly.
I have to go to Texas.
Easy. 3 studios and online at
Right.
home. And that doesn't even include pay, which I can't wait to find out more about.
I have a day off, and I use it to dance. Because that's when I take my dance classes. I still do Indian classical is one of the trainings that I was started in when I was younger, and I still do that now. So it's called Bharatanatyam, and I still have that practice. So I go there twice a week, and now I'm preparing for a big show that's going to take about 2 years to prepare for. So I'll be picking up another day of practice to work on that. So yeah, dance is everything. I just want to listen to music and move my body at all times.
I love it though. So inspiring. You found a way to work full time doing what you love, which is a lot of our goals.
Yes, it it's a lot on my body. I keep thinking like, okay, one of these years I'm gonna like slow down. And then as soon as I slow down, I'm like, I'm bored. So then I pile all this other stuff on my plate again.
Awesome. Do you want to? I want to ask so much about pillow fight, but not yet. What do you see in the future for yourself in pole dancing in the hopefully in the next 5, maybe 10 years?
Oh man, I really would like to get more classes that are focused on that slow meditative practice. It's almost like restorative yoga in a sense, where you are listening to your body more than you're listening to a teacher per se. Yeah, I would love to have more classes that feature that way of practicing, almost even like how some yoga studios will have like yin yoga or candlelight yin yoga, having like candlelight whole meditation. And, we just like turn the lights down and we have like wine. No, I'm just joking. But like almost like a super meditative practice in the pole space. Yeah. I would love to do more classes like that, and even like workshops, even in different areas. That would be my goal. Yeah.
That sounds like a beautiful class. I would definitely take that class and workshop.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what the future
The
has.
most strenuous thing you will do in this class is breathe.
Yes, right. That's the hardest thing too.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
sometimes people that is super hard. Unfortunately, it's sad.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Right. I think it's important too because like you learn all the tricks and everything, but then like taking it back and being like, okay, now let's like be more mindful in it is
And
important.
not only the mindfulness of it, but just the simple act of breathing. How many times are we doing moves, or you see in the class that you're teaching and the student is not breathing? Like they're doing the move and they're, and it's like, breathe. Like you're gonna pass out. Like, just breathe. It's okay. You know. So yeah, breath is everything. Also, just using your breath to get you through those strenuous moments, knowing when to inhale, when to exhale, and when it's that exhale is going to be the most beneficial to help give you that extra energy to lift you, or, all these different things. So, but I wish that was gone over more in classes. We make jokes all the time, like, oh, you need to breathe. You're not breathing, you're holding your breath. But there's so much more to actually breathing and how you can use it as part of your movement practice, using that breath to push you through and carry you through a lot of your moves. Yeah.
Right, for sure. Like the breathing can help you. Who would have thought?
It's
Yeah.
Do you have any other pole dance philosophies that you use in your pole dance or your pole coaching or
Um, that one's a tough one for me because so much of what I feel and believe kind of comes out in the moment when I'm teaching. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying. Like something will happen, and I'm like, this is this, and I'm like, oh, that actually sounded kind of smart, who'd have thunk it, Um, but my biggest thing that I use for myself is just show up, just show up. And a lot of times that can be the hardest part, is just show up. And as long as I carry that every single time, I'm okay. As long as I just show up, everything else will work itself out. Everything else will, do what it needs to do. But if I can at least just show up to the pole, the rest is taken care of. But being a teacher, it can be very hard to have my own practice. So that's something that I have to constantly remind myself, is you have to show up, show up, show up. And not just show up for other people, but show up for yourself. Show up, for your practice. I can't continue to take from dance and not give to my dance practice as well. So I give to my dance practice my time, my effort, my energy, my attention, my heart and soul, all that. And it starts with just show up. Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. It reminds me of the other day too. I was like, Chris, I went into the studio and I felt like I couldn't do anything. And then I remembered I hadn't taken a class in a really long time. So like I need to take a class and then I won't be stale anymore.
but you showed up.
That's right, I just show up to discover that.
Knowing that is a big deal. And especially for students, right? When they feel tired or they feel sore or they feel like the last time they were in class, it didn't go so well, then showing up becomes the hardest thing, harder than that trick that they had a hard time with, right? So just continue to show up over and over and over and over again. And you will definitely be rewarded for that. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that because I've been hearing that a lot lately. Show up in your practice, show up on social media for your online audience, show up on your email list, just show up.
Yes. Yes.
Great advice. It truly is. Can I ask now?
Pillow fight.
Yeah. Can we have more info on Pillow Fight? Because I see him back there and I was visiting the website earlier.
The
I
whole
showed my
time.
husband, I showed my husband and I was like, look at these asses.
These, okay, so I told you I'm a butt girl. So this is, I mean, look how juicy this is. Look at this like butt cleft, this like definition. They're so, look at that, different angles. Look, she is caked the fuck up. Like, look at that. Yes. And it's soft, it's squishy. You just put your face in there and just go to sleep. You know, it's great. I love these pillows. And then of course we got these fluffy tits, which make great neck pillows. If you want to get some looks on the plane,
I
this
was
is,
gonna say it's a travel pillow.
and it kind of also fits like a little peanut, you know. So like at my lower back, like yeah, because lower back is always a thing, right? And pole. And then Big Daddy over here. Look at how massive this is. This is my friend. But this is,
You're like hugging it like a best friend.
and so this is almost even like a gaming chair, right? Like you just like put your lower back on these balls and lean back on the shaft. This shaft is very supportive. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. I also have little titties that are filled with gel. They're stress balls, stress titties, and then I have testicles. They're stressticles, and they're also filled with gel, so you can squeeze those whenever you're feeling a little stressed. Just tickle the balls, squeeze the tits, and you'll be fine. It's all good.
Yeah. And how did that start from pole dancing?
So I start from pole dancing. So I am also a fiber artist. I sew, I weave, I crochet knit, I spin my own yarn. Um, I used to help out on farms, shearing the sheep and the goats, and I was be given the fleece as part of payment. And I would process the fleece, wash it, pick it, just the whole process, and then spin it into yarn, and then take the yarn and weave fabrics. And then I would take the fabrics and turn it into something else. Sometimes it would be clothing, sometimes it would be wall hangings or art pieces. But yeah, I have, you can't see it because everything is on this side of the room, but I have 4 looms on this side of the room that are all for fabric making. And I'm not going to assume anybody knows what a loom is, but that big ass machine that is used to make fabrics, your shirts, your jeans, everything that is made out of fabric is made on some sort of loom, whether it's like mechanical, made by hand, like a hand loom, or it's like commercial, huge giant one in a factory, but it's all the same. And I have like a lot of my space is taken up by all my fiber work. So, and then my spinning wheels, we all know spinning wheels, like how you make yarn like Rumpelstiltskin back in the day. So yeah, I'm like, that's old like homestead lady just like canning vegetables and spinning yarn and making so anyway, yeah, so it started from that actually. I had, my goal at the time was to make an entire wardrobe from my own hands. And I did it. And then I was like, well, what else can I do? And so I started kind of playing with different shapes and things like that. And my husband made a joke about my butt and how he misses it when I'm out of town and all that. And he's like, you should make me something. so that, I don't have to miss it when you're gone. And I was like, that sounds like a fantastic idea. Who wouldn't want to put their face in a butt, like, and go to sleep? Like, this is lovely, of course. So then came the butt. Then I was like, oh, this butt is lonely. It needs tits. It needs this penis. And you know what? And I don't have on me, but you can see it on my website, is my Punani Power Pillow. So that one is my vag pillow. It's glorious. It's glorious. I make it out of velvet yarn. You can stick your hand inside. You can like hide crystals, weave, whatever it is you want to put in there inside that vag pillow, and she'll keep it safe and sound for you, and she will never tell your secrets. She's also a little meaty girl, so she's got her little meat curtains that are nice to hold and play with, and she's super squishy. Yeah, I wish I had more of those, but I always sell out of those because everybody loves them so much.
Yeah,
But
I love it. And we will have all these links in the comments, y'all. So make sure you check these websites and her social media out, whether you're watching or listening.
yeah.
Oh my God, I love it so much. The creativity and the
Uh,
necessity of all them. Like, we need them.
I think everybody needs them.
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah.
Thank you for making those.
you
It's
know,
my contribution to the world. I'm just doing my part.
it's such a good way of inspiration and innovation for entrepreneurs or any entrepreneur. Like, find something you're good at, make it different, and do it. Just sell it.
Yes.
I power to everybody, who has like regular 9 to 5s. I've never been able to do that. I've never been able to hold that space. And there were several times in my life that I tried, and very quickly it did not work. And I was constantly trying to find what felt good, but also allowed me to eat. And also growing up in Detroit, it's a very like hustlers mentality in Detroit. Everybody that I know, all my family members, all my friends, no matter what it was you were doing, you had like 4 other things going on. You always had side hustles. Somebody was always pushing this or pushing that or peddling this, or, oh, I do Avon on the weekend, or, oh, you know, some people, oh, I work at the casino during the day, I sell ass at night. Like, whatever it is that you got going on, there was like 4 other things that were also happening. So it's like, I'm used to being like, okay, this is good, but what else can I do? I can also sell this. I can also sell that. I can make this. I can make that. I can turn this, into something. But at the same time, it's still fun. Yes, it's a business, but it's fun. And I never feel like I'm working. I'm always creating and having fun. And it also works out that I'm getting paid for it. So that collectively, all those things are my 9 to 5, like between teaching, performing, making fabrics, selling, ass and titties, doing all that all together is my 9 to 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I was gonna ask you too, doesn't like the weaving and everything, isn't it very time consuming? Do you
Yeah.
have any free time?
So my it's strange because I almost try not to have free time, because when I do have free time, I'm like, what else can I be doing? So that is my free time. My free time is playing on the pole. My free time is hula hooping. My free time is weaving. My free time is spinning yarn, crocheting. Um, my free time is listening to music and creating choreo. Um, yeah, so I know this might even sound a little bit weird, but my life is free time. Um, so I just, fill it with things because what do you do in your free time? Things that you enjoy. things that you have fun doing, things that feel good to you, things that make you smile and laugh, or things that are relaxing, you know? And weaving is extremely relaxing. It's very meditative. Um, Crocheting is fun. Hula hooping is fun. Playing on the pole makes me smile. So yeah, that's my life is my free time.
I love it. Find a way to make money doing everything you love.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yay. Do you have
And
any?
it's been possible without the strip club. So, you know, I had, like that is I anytime I meet somebody who's like, oh, I'm a club worker or a sex worker or whatever, I'm like, do the damn thing, you know. I have never been well, I shouldn't say never, but when I first started, I was a little bit like, people are gonna feel some kind of way. But then very quickly, I was like, you know what? My son has food. He's going to like uh, summer programs in other states. We're traveling around the world. You know, like we have a roof over our head. Like we don't have to ask nobody for shit. Ain't nothing wrong with what I'm doing. I'm good. You know, I'm not ashamed um, about providing for myself and my son. And the life that it has afforded us. You know, I was able to homeschool. I was able to show up. I was at every freaking field trip, every class party. I was there with fucking cupcakes and shit, and every like event that would happen, all of his violin recitals and martial arts tournaments. And like, I was that mom. And it was because I was a stripper and I could make my own schedule. I decided when I went in and when I left. And my number one goal in life was to be a spectacular mom. And working the club actually allowed me to do that. It allowed me to show up for my son. It allowed me to show up for myself. So anybody who that's a big beef I have. Anybody talking down or talking negatively about sex work in any way. Yeah, that's a whole nother rant.
Love it. It's like in one of my favorite movies, The Player Clubs. Make that money, boo. Don't let it make you.
Absolutely, because that's not life. You know, this is what affords your life, but true life is in your experiences. And I was able to
Mhm.
go up and be that and have those experiences. And now my son is he'll be 23 in a couple months, and he's works in finance. He's got his own place. He's stable. He just got done traveling around Europe. He's doing his thing. And that's all I could ever ask for. So, yeah.
And yes, thank you for sharing that honestly with us. It's so important. It is so important.
Yes,
Such a stigma on it all, and it's sad.
it is. It really is. Because, I mean, it's art, it's a job. And nobody really thinks about all the shit that the actual entertainers have to go through. That shit is work. It's hard work. It's effort. It really is a job. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Right. And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So hopefully still teaching, still making ass and tits, and basically like where my life is now, I'm pretty happy with the way things are going. The only thing that I would want more of is I would love to have more online classes. And I would love to be able to travel more with my workshops and things like that, because before I was traveling a lot with like Ariel and performing and traveling, and I loved it. So now that I've switched from circus to pole, I would love to be able to do that with pole, but I have to get invited. So
Come to
if anybody,
Springfield. Yeah, come to Massachusetts.
slow meditative practices, just give me a call. I will show up.
We have also learned too, sometimes you just gotta reach out. It's scary as hell. Sometimes you just gotta email them.
And it's I've been told that quite a few times lately, and I've never been like a salesperson. Like I've as vibrant as I come across in my classrooms and things like that, when it's like real world stuff, I'm like,
Mhm.
even selling my pillows when I go to markets, my husband always goes with me because I'm like, please buy my stuff. No, you don't want it? Oh, okay, okay, sorry for asking. And my husband, he works in sales, so he's like, hey, let me show you what this can do. You don't want to leave here without one, da 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 da, and he's like selling the shit out of these things. And I'm just like, thank you. Um, So you are very right. You do need to just put yourself out there sometimes, and the worst that they can do is say no, right? So it never hurts to ask. But yeah, maybe I just need to do that.
It's scary. I thank you for sharing that honestly, because it is scary. A lot of us are, me included. I don't like reaching out to people.
Yeah, I don't like rejection, and just feeling even just, as a teacher, and I know what I bring to the table in my classes here in my city. Um, but then putting myself out to the world and with so many amazing people, I'm like, am I good enough? Am I that good? Well, this person is doing the same thing that I'm doing and they're doing it better. Do I even have anything to offer? Like, would I just be a waste of time? Why would they choose me when they can choose this person who's doing it like 10 times better and have been doing it for longer? Um, so it can be stressful to feel good enough, right? But at the same time, what do we just say? Show up. So just you can't receive the blessings if you're not there. So you gotta be there, show up. So maybe this is confirmation for me. I'm gonna send out a bunch of emails after this call. At least with the email, I don't have to get it to my face, so I can like cry in the corner. Nobody knows.
Yeah, too funny. I love it. You have so much to offer. Everybody out there has so much to offer. I can't wait to see what the future has for you.
Yes.
Same. Thank you so much.
Is there anything else you would like to promote or share with the audience or your viewers or listeners?
Just again, I have Pillow Fight on Instagram. It's Pillow Fight X is my ad on Instagram. Also pillowfightx.com is the website. House of Sundari is my weaving and spinning and fiber page. That one has like all like my little like homesteading stuff, DIY stuff. And then of course me, pole is Tiptoe Flow. But more than anything, if you're local to Austin, please come and find me. Would love to have you in class. If you're not local to Austin, please find me. Would love to have you in class online. I do privates and I have time for that. I have time for everything. So I have time for you. And yeah, so just find me, just show up. I will handle the rest. And if you got some cool workshops, some cool retreats, and you're looking for some slow meditative stuff, give me a call. Yeah. So
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing all of your links and everything. We will have them all in the caption below. And then I think that was all of the questions. Chris, do you have any more questions?
I think that, yeah, that was the questions and then some. We went into a lot. Um, Anything else you would like to leave us with that comes to your mind? I know, just randomly asking you on the spot. Oh, we forgot nutrition and pole dancing.
Oh, oh my gosh. I don't think we want to talk about my nutrition. Um, I go through cycles. I'm a big fasting person. It goes along with my meditation practice and that mindfulness practice. It helps to clear my mind and also my body, my spirit. Whenever I'm starting something new, I usually fast, take my time. But yeah, right now, I'm on this like no carbs, no sugar. So I'm like a little bit ragey. Um, and whenever I go back home, I kind of just go off the rails. And back home is Detroit. But yeah, whenever I go back home, I go off the rails because there's all these amazing things to eat there. And Detroit is so diverse. There's like these amazing Polish restaurants and these amazing like Middle Eastern restaurants and these amazing Italian restaurants. And it's just like, I just want all the food. And so I just go crazy. And then when I come back to Austin, I'm like, I can't lift myself. They're like, okay, I have to start over again. But yeah, between I don't like cereal diet though. Um, I usually just fast and then go back to doing what I love, or eating what I love. Yeah. I try not to limit myself. Life is too short, man. I have that cinnamon roll. It's fine.
Yes. Right. We started asking that question just because we were like, oh, like a lot of us don't think of ourselves as athletes. And so
Mhm.
like we're maybe not like being as nutrition conscious as we could be. But I like that you brought up fasting because I've been looking into that. And I wondered.
I love it. One thing though, since I've been training more, I find that I have to push more protein. Um, I am not a protein person, or animal protein anyway. And so that was kind of hard for me, to be able to eat. A lot of times I would just train and train and train, never ate. And then I came home and I'm like, I guess I'll have a protein shake and go to bed, and then after days of doing that, you're like, oh, I haven't eaten. I have no nutrient, no nothing. Um, so that was a little hard for me, was actually eating, and making sure that I get enough food in, and not just 3 meals a day, but like, what's in those meals and making sure I had enough protein and stuff like that. My husband's really good about that, so he's been helping me, but I am a seafood person, and plants. So that's what feels best for my body. But now I'm like, I need to have more protein in my system to fuel my practice. And since I've been doing that more, it's been a lot better. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because I'm vegetarian and I found that like I was getting enough protein as like a regular vegetarian person, but as a vegetarian athlete,
Yeah.
I needed to like double up on the protein, and like different types of protein also
Yeah.
were helpful. But yeah, it's hard to find a balance. But
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for
I,
sharing that though. Yeah.
I'm still working on that balance, but I do enjoy fasting, for the clarity benefits. And then having the extra protein now has definitely helped. And I'm going to the gym in between. Like I'm about to head to the gym soon as well to try to get it in before my other classes. So yeah.
Just never stop. She already got her next move planned.
And it's wild because this is only half of what I used to do. And it was like I'd have like 3 to 5 shows every weekend. And then I had like 8 to 12 classes during the week. And then I had my gym schedule because at the time I was doing fitness modeling. So I had to like really be in the gym to like sculpt. So I had to be in the gym till like midnight and then leave and then wake up the next day, do classes until 10 o'clock again, and then leave my class, go back to the gym until midnight, and just do that all week, and then prepare for my shows on the weekend. And, you know, and then at some point I'm being a mom, right? At some point I'm also having time for myself. At some point I'm being a daughter and a sister and everything else. Yeah. But now it's like half of that and I still feel super busy. But I love moving. I gotta move. So I feel like a shark. If I stop, I'm gonna die.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Any other questions, Mandy? Thank you so much, Adémigua. This was so fun. We learned so much about you and Hello Fight more.
I definitely want to get one of those boob travel pillows.
I know, right?
They come in so many different colors.
And even for the nipples act as like a massage. Like you said, that's perfect.
Absolutely. And it's also like a little fidget toy, if you that kind of thing.
Don't fidget on a plane though, y'all.
Who will stop me?
Exactly. Nobody. Wish I had the little ones to show you. I'd have to go off camera to go grab my closet, but you can see them on my website and they're super squishy. Those are really nice. I usually have like one in the car, one in my gym bag, one in my dance bag.
Love it.
Like play with them because I'm used to just walking around like this, you know. And I was told that that's not acceptable. So
men walk around grabbing their crotch all the time. Why not? Hands in their pants, scratching stuff.
Exactly. I never thought it was a big deal, but I was told it was unacceptable. But yeah, the squish titties are perfect for that. Mm-hmm.
Love it.
And breasticles. Let's not forget the breasticles.
This shows how messed up our world are. Men could show their underwear, pants to their knees, can scratch their balls, but women just can't cup.
Walk around like this. Yeah.
Soon.
And if you're really thought the hand goes under the shirt and you really
diving in.
Yes.
Too fun.
I love it. That's a perfect note to leave this episode on, I guess.
If you got them,
yes.
they're yours.
With that shirt, though, you'll be like grabbing Sade's face.
It's like, and this used to be my husband's shirt, and then it got too small for him, so it's mine now. But Sade, as a child, I was like, I don't know if I want to like be her or be with her, but she was like everything for me. And I'm like, I would tell people that she was my auntie, my long lost auntie. We both
love it.
She's half Nigerian, and that's the origin of my name. So her full name is Fola Sade.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Adémigua, so we both had Ade in our name. So I was like, yeah, we're related. I would tell everybody that she was my auntie.
Perfect.
I love it. Auntie
But
shot.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And on that awkward silence, I think
Well, thank you to everyone who listened to or watched this episode of Pull in the Call podcast.
Yes.
My name is Mændy Mac.
yes. And Cris Rivers. Ooh. We're signing off with Adémigua.
Yay!
Yeah.